Well, it's another Wednesday. AM Business is up, and the increased communication service tax to 9% has been welcomed by Ghanaians, albeit with some mixed reactions. Although some believe that the telecom companies will benefit from the tax, the telcos also say they will not benefit in any way. Joy Business Karindodo is more on the CST on the segment.
So you might have been given just 91 pesos for the 1 cedi credits you loaded, or maybe any other value that you recharged was 9% lower. Well, this is not a scam or a cheat, but then it's as a result of the increase in the communication service tax. What exactly does this tax mean, and how is it going to affect consumers and Ghanaians in general? The 3% proposed increment by government came as a surprise to many when Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced in the presentation of the mid-year budget review. The communication service tax was introduced in 2008 at an ad valorem rate of 6%. The tax is levied on charges payable by consumers for the use of communication services, including calls, messages and data charges, among others. But what exactly will this increment mean for the public? Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Kenneth Ashibe, says it is nothing but extra cost to consumers.
The CST is a tax that's incident on the consumer. So what it eventually means is that in the past you used to pay a CST of 6%. Now it's going to be 9%. So what happens is, if say the cost of the telcos, and the telcos fix their prices separately, and competition drives a lot of the things they do. But if they fix a price of say 100 cedis, in the past what would have happened is that they would have computed a CST of 6% on that. That will be 6 cedis. Then they'll compute your 2 levies of 5%. That will be 5. So that the total will come to 11 cedis. You add it to the 100 is 110. Then you apply the VAT, which is the final tax of 12.5. That would come. Then if you put all of that together, it will come to around 124.875. Now what will happen is that, so you do your same 5% you do, but now you do a 9%. So if you add that, that's 14%. Before you slap the VAT of 12.5% on it, that would come to 28.25 thereabouts. So whatever it is that you spend, that money that you pay, the portion of taxation that is in it, it's definitely going to go up.
One key business that utilizes internet access in Ghana is the internet cafe, where customers, usually the youth, go to browse the internet at a fee. However, due to the low patronage, many internet cafes have diversified their services and are now into printing, scanning and photocopying.
When internet cafes closes down, like who is going to assist those who wants to feel?
Vida Tudu runs an internet cafe at Nima, a suburb in Accra. Having operated for close to 7 years, she tells me the volume of customers who frequent her shop has decreased as many people now easily access the internet on their phones. The current increment, she believes, would worsen the situation.
Now many people have access to internet on their phones, and some even have laptops at home. They have their own data at home as well. So now business has gone down. Somewhere last year, it was 400 cedis. By then, 30 minutes was 70 pesos. So they increased it to 420 Ghana cedis. So we have to also increase the 70 pesos to 1 cedi. Before 1 hour was 1 cedi, but now it's 1 cedi 50 pesos. Yeah.
Glaxy, another operator, tells me that the new cost incurred will be passed on to customers.
I will not keep my rate. I will increase it to whatever tax they will put on. So I will increase it maybe to 10% of this one tax they will put it on.
Such businesses will experience the pinch of the increased telecommunication tax.
These telcos and other businesses in the telecom sector, they put in a lot of investment, with the intention that they were going to generate a lot more revenue. But if the CST comes and that also reduces, not only would their revenue have gone down, but even, the way they are sweating the assets that they've put in based on the investment, could be challenged. And then when people have to take decisions of new investment that they have to make to expand the networks, there are potentials, in that for that.
Government has justified the increment, saying it is to develop a foundation for the creation of a viable technology ecosystem in the country. Vincent Sowa Odote is Deputy Minister for Communication.
We are just putting a small margin so that we'll be able to make sure that we properly ground and take care of the cyber ecosystem in the country. That is the crux of the matter. Is a private sector going to start National Cybersecurity Authority for you? And because of the pace of development technology, it's a dynamic thing which comes every time. So we must prepare for it.
Despite the intention by government, concerns have been raised about the implications of the additional communication service tax. This follows a similar situation in Uganda, where government in 2018 imposed taxes on the use of social media to tame idle talk. This action was followed by a series of demonstrations and a decline in the internet subscription by 2.5 million in 3 months. Government has, however, not been able to generate the expected revenue from the social media tax. Mr. Ashibe cautions the consuming power of Ghanaians should not be taken for granted.
I cannot take for granted and think that the communication service, which is a product that we all need now, has become almost a human right now, is inelastic. It cannot be, because we should bear in mind that we're in Africa and people are competing. Should I spend that 1 CD to buy, scratch card and put on my phone, or should I use that to buy kinky or something? So those conversations are going on. So we can't take it for granted that the product is inelastic. You really cannot tell what it is that will happen. But we have seen examples in other markets where it's had really negative effects. So
interaction with some Ghanaians, however, showed that the increment of the communication service tax was not of major concern, but rather whether these taxes would be used for the intended purpose.
Basically, the idea of raising these taxes to enable the government generate revenue is a good idea. But then the motive or the reason why or what they are going to use this revenue for is what is more concerning to me. I mean, to me as a consumer, you understand, yeah. To fight cybercrime and all that, I believe there are more basic concerning issues that needs to be addressed than this cybercrime. If the government wants to raise or generate revenue or income, fine, we are all in support of it. But there are more concerning issues which I believe needs to be addressed.
They should focus on other things. There are other places they can generate taxes from. It's not about me making my calls and then you taking money out of it, because I pay for the credits. So you have no right to take money and then increase it and tell me that. Let's say the communication company are supposed to be the one to pay for the tax. I'm not supposed to pay for the tax because I'm taking my credit, I'm buying it. They are also making their money from what I am doing. So they're not supposed to take any tax anyway.
I can say it's of no use to that extent, because there are so many sectors that government can concentrate in terms of, let's say, the tolls that we pay when we use the road. There are so many monies. They take so many monies per day, the number of cars that passes by and a whole lot. So if credits, we can spend, a little on credit, and then government will also take, deducting so many taxes on that. It's not cool like that, yeah.
I think it's good in a way, because for me, nowadays people use the internet for unnecessary things. They will cut your head and put it in somebody's, and a whole lot of nonsense. So if this is also going to check at least how we use the internet and other things, I think it will help, because somebody will buy a phone, buy just 22 CDs internet service, and then use it for unnecessary things.
If you thought the telcos are the main beneficiaries of this tax, then think again, as everything derived from the levy goes straight to government. Prince Champon is Chief Operating Officer of Airtel Tigo.
One thing about CST is that it's not a tax or a burden from we, the operators. It's government that is levying the customer. We are just an intermediary. So if the government has increased it from 6 to 9%, as a good corporate citizen, all that we have to do is to oblige and obey the rules. So the government say collect 9% out of the customer's credit or whatever rate charge that they do. We cannot say no, that would be illegal. So from what the Telecom Chamber has published, from 1st October is coming into force, and we just plead that the customer will bear with us. This is not from Airtel to Go or from any other operator.
Consumers now have to adjust the latest review in the value of airtime as the CST is here to stay. For Joy Business, Karen Dudu.